804-726-3430. Yeah, he said that.
I know. It sounded like I said it's so dirty.
I mean, he's just like, he always got to be.
He a dirty.
You see how he always trying to take, like the shine and stuff. Like, he think he the man or something. This Carlton Banks guy, man. What's his deal?
You know what? I am the man.
You like
the man next to the man.
What it is, you're a loser in words with friends. That's what it is.
Is that what it is?
He got beat down. I had to take him out.
Dude, you won by like 1 point.
I won though.
But the last time I played both of y'all,
man,
you got your first win out of how many wins?
We ain't talking about
that.
We ain't talking about that. We talking about the present, right here and right now.
No vowels with words with friends.
You see how you do? Again, he tried to steal it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my moment.
Yeah, that was your moment. You trying to break
bad
on one win.
I was winning. I won the last game. I'm winning the current game.
Oh, you about to lose that one too.
And he had to talk about the past, Big Rube.
That's how he does, man.
Like, see, I didn't come right out and say that I was hammering Big Rube in the last game and I'm hammering him in this game. Like, see, I didn't say that.
Well, you didn't redo the game, man. I'm waiting for you to challenge it, unless you're scared.
See, here we go. Sounds like time to get into football. We're talking about challenges and being scared and stuff. Let's go ahead and kind of talk a little bit about the NFL championship game, affectionately known as the Super Bowl. Game's coming up this week. It's going to be played in Indianapolis. We got the New York Football Giants that just arrived in Indy yesterday, and of course the New England Patriots that arrived on Sunday. A lot of stories here. I could take. We could probably spend a whole show doing a football recap, but we won't. We're gonna get a couple of quick hits in. Carlton, why don't you tell me what you see in the game? We'll do a little bit of X's and O's, and then we'll kind of have a little fun. Talking a little bit of trash with it, but let's just kind of see where you see the game. Just real talk football analysis. What you got?
Right now, what I see is this: you got two teams that are evenly matched from a standpoint of where their strengths are, and then you have two teams that who have been to the Super Bowl in recent past. So you're dealing with rosters that know how that game is going to be. They know the hype. They know what the expectations are, and you have things of that nature playing into how these guys will be playing. These men will be playing come Super Bowl Sunday. It is a wonder that Bill Belichick has not used the last loss to the Giants as a motivation for these players. He's like, hey, it's another game. We'll go out there, we'll game plan, and we'll win like we should win. And from there, we're going to do what needs to be done. Tom Coughlin, on the other hand, he seems to be taking in stride just as well. He's saying to his players, hey, you've been here. We know what to do, and we're going to game plan, and we're going to win the game. What I'm sick and tired of is this. Yes, Gronkowski has his foot in a boot, but he is one person. Yeah, he, from a standpoint of how is he a Pro Bowl tight end? Did he set records? Did he do a lot of things with the New England Patriots? Yes, he did. He had a great quarterback. Bledsoe, I can't think of the boy's name. Drew Brees. Bledsoe. What the heck is the boy's name?
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Thank you. Man, I done gone through every New England quarterback.
Did he really go to Drew Brees?
Yeah. Tom Brady just had a good time, and they had a good connection. Hernandez is still there. They can go to him. Gronkowski, yes, he was the pass catching. Yes, he is the tight end blocking. He's everything that they want, but still, you have another tight end in Hernandez that can kill you. He just doesn't get the ball. He just doesn't seem to get as open as Gronkowski. The foot, by Sunday, they'll give him a shot. He'll play with the pain. Plain and simple. He's going to play.
So, Big Ro, as you see all the talk and all the hype and bulletin board material and wading through all of that, as far as the X's and O's, we're going to come back to Carlton because we're going to do picks and what we think. We'll do the picks on, the winners as well as the score as well. From what I understand, and I could be wrong, I do think that the Patriots right now are 3-point favorite. So we'll talk about that. But Big Roo, how do you see this game playing out? What do you see as the keys?
First of all, Carlton Banks is silly. Gronkowski is a monster. Gronkowski is the reason why they're in the Super Bowl. Not that Aaron Hernandez is bad, but Aaron Hernandez is a receiving tight end. He's like Art Monk with the Redskins. You need the yards,
but he'll make it to the Hall of Fame, won't he?
Who?
Gronkowski.
Probably not.
Oh,
but When we need a first down, we threw to Art Monk. When they need a first down, they throw to Aaron Hernandez. When they need a touchdown, they give it to Gronkowski. But back to the X and O's. The biggest thing is going to be the two most important parts here are going to be the completely re-spirited Patriots defense versus the already gritty and dirty and grimy Giants defense. It's not going to be offensive. It's going to be completely defensive because basically it's like, all right, the Giants we got a whole defensive line back. We got our linebackers back. You know, they're going to let the dogs loose. And against Tom Brady and the offensive line, who is really good, you have to let the dogs loose against them. New England's defense, somehow they decided to play. After 16 games, they decided in the playoffs that, okay, it's time. We're not giving up 5 million points anymore. We're actually going to play some defense. So I don't think that the quarterback position is going to be important because I expect both of them to get sacked at least 4 times apiece. I expect a couple interceptions. It's going to be a ground game. It's going to be a defensive game the way the Giants like.
But when have you seen New England run the ball, and when have you seen their defense get after anybody?
Their defense got after Denver sickly.
That's Denver.
And they really did a job on Ray Rice against Baltimore. They shut Ray Rice down.
But Baltimore still could have won that game.
But it took Flacco 300 yards for them to have a chance.
Well, Flacco needed to step his game up.
But Flacco's not a 300-yard passer.
He needs to be.
But no, he doesn't.
Okay.
Trent Dilfer's not a 300-yard passer. He got a ring.
No, that's Trent Dilfer. Different caliber of quarterback.
I mean, but you can't say
Trent Dilfer wasn't drafted in the first round to be what he was.
But you must understand, the Ravens are a run-first team. Right. The fact that they shut them down, they pretty much shut Ray Rice down, that said volumes.
Well, here's the thing. I think by what I'm about to say, I'm going to be agreeing with Big Rube. I think the fact that people walking around, discounting the New England defense, I think they're being disingenuous, and I don't think they're paying attention. One thing that people haven't paid attention to is the fact that New England was blowing cats out. They weren't just winning games, fellas. They was blowing people out. And what do you do when you blow people out? You kind of call off the dog sometimes. Mm-hmm. So if you see a lot of times what ends up happening is third, fourth quarter, you got defenses in prevents. You might go man-to-man. You might, collapse a little bit on your blitzes. Next thing you know, the other team, because they have to throw the ball to try to get back into the game.
They take chances.
They're taking chances, and they're getting chunks of yards, which is making the defense, the New England defense, stat-wise, not look as great as it was. And the other thing is they're scoring so many points, and they're turning the ball back over, giving the ball back to the other team. Because they're scoring so quickly, they got possessions, but so is the other team. So they're going to have more possessions than maybe a different team playing against a different defense. And so, of course, you played, if you're on the field a lot more, you have the potential to give up a lot more yards. So I guess ultimately the point I'm trying to make is their defense isn't nearly as bad
as people think
it is. Now, as far as how I see the game going, you basically look at, certain keys. You got quarterback, you got coach, and you got offensive line. For me, those are your keys. If you got a quarterback that's better than the other guy's quarterback, it's a good bet you're going to probably win the game. If your coach can outthink the other guy's coach, it's a good bet that you're probably going to win the game. If your offensive line can protect your quarterback better than the other team's offensive line, you're probably going to win the game. Well, guess what? The Giants' front four, they're going to get in on that offensive line of New England Patriots. I'm not so much worried about New England's front four getting to Eli. Eli got sacked 6 times last week. Eli hadn't seen the ground 6 times in like a year or 2 years. It's just our offensive line doesn't really give up the sack like San Francisco got to him. So I think a big key to this game is going to be which one of those two quarterbacks is able to stand upright the longest time. And which one of them are going to be able to get to their weapons. The Giants have better weapons, period. Whether Gronkowski is in the game or not, their receiving core is better than the receiving core. Aside from Wes Welker, and Gronkowski, you can say what you want. He can play, he might not play. But he's not going to be the kind of factor that he was with 17 touchdowns in the regular season. He's not going to be able to have that kind of production. If they're smart if they're smart, they'll get him active in the first half because when they go in the locker room, he's going to stiffen up. He's not going to be a factor in the second half of the game. So aside from Wes Welker with that threat, what else they got? Their defense isn't better. It's not as bad as people are saying, but it isn't better.
Here's my beef with that. I feel like the offensive line of the Giants cancels out the offensive line of the Patriots. I feel like those three things you said, quarterback, coach, offensive line, they all cancel each other out. So it's going to come down to two different things. It's going to come down to, basically whose punter can put their team in a better position. And it's going to come down to the running back position.
So you see it
basically special teams.
Field position. No, I'm not saying special teams. Well, special teams on a punt game, yes. But I'm saying mostly, I feel like that it's going to be a lot of punting back and forth. I also feel like both quarterbacks going to hit the ground a lot. So it's going to come down to Ben Jarvis Green Ellis versus Ahmad Bradshaw and Brandon Jacobs. Because what people really didn't realize, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis had a great game against that Baltimore defense. I mean, he literally, in the second quarter, he crushed them himself. And he doesn't run a lot. And I think you still have Sammy Morris back there, but nobody cares about him. But Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, they did with him what Green Bay does with their running back system. They don't run a lot during the regular season unless they have to. But then come playoffs, he's fresh. He can run 20 times, 20, 25 rushes, and he's going to get his yards. That's why I think that the thing's going to, where the defensive line is going to have to stop the run game. Whoever stops the run game more effectively will win this game. Because it's going to be an ugly game. I'll be shocked if any team scores more than 25 points.
Yeah, I mean, and that was kind of the next thing I was going to get to see how we thought this game would actually kind of turn out. And if you want to get in on this discussion, feel free to call us 804-726-3430. You listening, you got something you want to say, call us up and tell us. And we'll put you on the air and we'll talk about it.
I think the over-under was 55 last time I saw it.
It's not going to come close to that. It's not going to come close to that. I got under on that. I think your over-under should probably be closer to 40 or 45.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
55 sounds to me like a bit high, Carlton. What do you think?
Well, it all depends. You have your, like you said, you delete, I hate saying the boy's name. Eli. You can't have elite without Eli, as they say. He's had great games. He's put up points where he's found the receivers, 3 touchdowns here, 300 and some yards. Then you have Brandon Jacobs and Ahmad Bradshaw who'll break one off on you in a heartbeat. It's possible. It really is possible. You have to understand that Brady gets the ball out quick. His receivers are quick. The tight end is going to really make or break him right now. And if they had the running game that they did against Baltimore, I think your front four will handle that. Chris Canty's been playing a hell of a game since you got him from Dallas. Really, it's a possibility. It really is a possibility to be an over. I really do feel it can be an over.
Well, I guess it's possible. I don't see it actually getting to be that way. I mean, I think this very possibly is going to come down on the shoulders of the quarterbacks. I mean, we all know Tom Brady. We could talk his greatness into the ground. The only quarterback these days they want to compare him to is Joe Montana. If he wins on Sunday, he'll have the same amount of Super Bowl trophies as Joe Montana at 4. He'll be 4-1, and Joe Montana, as we know, is 4-0. If he loses this game, he's 3-2, and I think a little bit of the luster kind of comes off of him because not only will he be 3-2, he will have lost 3 straight games to Eli Manning. Which brings me back to Eli. If you watch the game that he had this past week, we talk all year long with me saying Eli's elite and Eli's great and all that kind of stuff, but his production actually speaks